Welcome back. Very exciting news. We have new weapons and vehicles coming. And, there's a little treat at the end of this for all of you American mains who have been suffering out there. So, starting from the top, there's transport vehicles coming. Every nation has them. They're going to perform very similarly to the premium half-tracks we saw last week. And there's a truck coming for every nation. We'll cover all this in a little bit more detail in a moment. But starting from the top, we have Japan coming in with the Type 99 rifle early. So what I'm hoping with this is that it's very similar to the pre-war Kar 98 and the Kar 98 Kriegs model. We have the Type 99 late, which is similar to the Kriegs model, a late war production using less high quality materials and faster manufacturing processes, cutting corners here and there. So I'm really hoping that it's similar and that it's got a higher fire rate, because the Type 99, except for its fire rate, has the potential to be an excellent rifle. I have a squad that I have outfitted with them in the I guess it's not the Pacific anymore, in the Japanese tech tree. And they're pretty awesome. They just fire kind of slow. Coming with that, more boom boom bang bang, the Type 99 early with a grenade discharger. The other thing that I'm curious with these two is where in the tech tree they'll fall. The Type 99 right now, I believe, is a rank 2 rifle. I suspect that this should also be a rank 2 rifle, but you never know. There are bolties at rank 3 right now, and it's an absolute travesty. Breaks my heart seeing the Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark 1 at rank 3 when it ought to be a rank 2. Pour one out for you, boy. But anyway, the most exciting thing coming to Japan this update is Tokyo Arsenal SMG, carrying on with the trend of high-performance SMGs with Japan, holding 50-round magazines. This one, as they say, is a monster, and it truly is. This is going to be a Japanese PPSH. It fires 1,200 rounds per minute. It's faster than a PPSH. It's going to be absolutely nuts. If you thought the Japanese assault troops had you on edge now, with their Type 2s, which are phenomenal, or with their Type 100 lates, which are also doing quite well, this is going to be a Soviet shock assault caliber weapon on the Japanese. They're going to run through the jungle, they're going to run through the trenches, and they're going to chase your Marine Raiders back to the boat. At least mine will be. So, we're also getting a truck, as I mentioned before. It's very similar to what the Russians and the Americans are getting. The Germans, they have some tracks on theirs, but effectively it's the same idea. Their mobile spawn points, it says the squad will be able to take it without occupying a vehicle slot, which is good. I'm curious to see if they are attached to any squad, or if instead you take it similar to a rider. It doesn't go into a whole lot of detail, but by and large, all of these incoming trucks look like they're going to be pretty thin-skinned. I'm sure you'll be able to take them out with heavy machine guns, Molotovs, AT grenades, whole 9 yards. Anything you would normally take out a vehicle with and more. On top of that, it seems that Darkflow predicted that we might have some issues with the new Allied tanks in the Pacific. For those of you that don't know, the Churchill 3 and the Jumbo are now in the Pacific. Very spooky. Not too bad, though. In my experience, the Type 4 and the Type 5 rocket launchers have been ripping the Jumbos apart. They've been performing admirably, and I'm very pleased. I didn't think that they would do as well as they do against the Jumbo. But the Emperor protects, and the Emperor is ever beneficent. So, he's granting us the NATO with a Type 5 75mm gun, and the Honi 3, also with the 75mm gun, this one a Type 3. Right now, the Honi 1 and the Chi-Nu both have 75mm guns. They perform pretty well, and they seem to be able to tackle most Allied threats in the theater. This is going to offer more dedicated anti-tank potential, They are, after all, anti-tank guns mounted on mobile chassis. And unlike the Honey one, they'll actually offer you a little bit of protection. They should be nice, but they're not the most exciting thing in the world. Nevertheless, glory to the Emperor, Tenno Hiko Banzai. Moving on, with the Americans, we'll be getting the legendary Corsair, coming with 20mm cannons and 4 HVAR rockets. Personally, I would have liked to have seen them mount a few more rockets, or at least a bomb underneath. I've flown the FP5, and the FP5 is a phenomenal plane. It gets the same HVAR loadout, but it gets a drop tank. It gets 50 cals, this gets 20 mils, so it will be a wonderful and well looked forward to addition to the Pacific. I look forward to flying it in all the other campaigns as well, but the Corsair has a special place in the Pacific, at least for me. I think that Darkflow's potentially a little bit concerned to put in too many HVARs. We all saw what the P-47 did tearing up Normandy for years, so it makes sense that they don't want to give it its full HVAR loadout. It will help keep its BR down, but I wouldn't be opposed to it getting its full HVAR loadout, or at least getting variants of it. There were so many different Corsairs that flew throughout the war. I understand that they want to differentiate it from the FP5, which is probably why they went with a model with 20 mils, but if they were going to limit its HVAR loadout, I think I would have preferred they'd brought out a Corsair with 50 cals. But it is what it is. For those of you that have driven the Grant before, and for those of you Soviets out there who have driven the Lend-Lease-Lee, we have another one coming in for you. The M3 Lee. At least in the case of the Grant, which I've driven, I haven't driven the actual Lee in game. It's a sturdy vehicle. It's at rank 2, I believe. Let's take a look. I do have the game open in the background. It is indeed a rank 2. So, the Grant has fairly sturdy armor. It's got a powerful gun, but it is in a casemate. But it offers a unique experience in that it has machine guns, it has a small caliber turret gun on the roof, and it has a medium caliber gun that's casemate hull, semi-hull locked on the front right side. It provides excellent fire support, but it's not the most mobile tank in the world. It can be a bit lumbering at times, but its armor stands up quite well, especially against the rank 2 threats that the Axis is going to throw at you. The Americans have their own truck, the Studebaker, thin-skinned with a few bits of plyboard to guard your troops from incoming shrapnel, but likely not much more, and the M4A1 Sherman. We already have the Sherman 2 and the M4A2 Sherman. I imagine this is going to slot in right between those two. Maybe we'll see the other two get folded with it. We'll see. It might be too early for that to happen, though. Still, they have good 75mm guns, they have decent HE, decent AP, and they come with 50 cals, which are phenomenal. All in all, it should be a good addition to rank 3. Now for Russia, the Maxim Tokarev, potentially one of the most interesting additions this update. It's going to be a machine gun with 600 rounds a minute fire rate and a 100 round belt. My hope is that it comes in around rank 3, but they might push it up higher. I think that would be a shame, though. I kind of wish that they would take some of the more clunky, weak LMGs like the Type 11 and like the Beretta, and actually the Madison would be a great one as well, and shift them down to rank 1. Give starting players a taste of light machine guns right off the bat, and then open the door for some of the lower fire rate belt-fed machine guns to then come in at rank 2. But Darkflow does as Darkflow wishes. Hopefully this won't be higher than rank 3. I'm not sure how much play it would get if it goes above rank 3. Because at that point you're competing at rank 4. You're competing with the DT-29, which is an amazing machine gun. I absolutely adore it, And if you go any higher, you're competing with the not an RPD. And I don't think this can compete with that, even if it's got a 100-round belt. I mean, it'll bring in suppression, which is nice, but you already have a decent box mag on that. So, my hope, rank 3. Obviously, there's no dev server up, so I can't go on and find out exactly where it is. But I look forward to it. Should be an exciting gun. Adding to that, the Russians get their own truck. Lovely little milk truck here, minus the AA guns that we're so used to seeing on it in War Thunder. It's a truck. Beep beep. I'm sure it'll be useful for ferrying your troops to the front, but until I see how the implementation is, I kind of want to withhold judgment on all of the trucks. My initial take is that because they're not half-tracks, because they don't have any armor, your troops are going to get annihilated in them. There are trucks on the maps in Normandy, for example, and there are cars in Normandy and Tunisia, and to be honest, most of the time when I see troops get in them, they don't fare too well. Just the other day, I saw a German come bum rushing towards me in a Kubelwagen, and he never got the opportunity to get out. His entire crew got mowed down by me and my assault squad before they ever had the opportunity. And these trucks are unarmored, so hopefully the wooden planks can protect them from some shrapnel. I don't think they're going to stop bullets. And the best benefit from them is that they're going to be mobile rally points. I look forward to seeing them in game, but ultimately I suspect that they're going to be points pinatas. And closing out with Germany, they have their mobile spawn point. Equally thin-skinned, but interesting in that it is indeed a half-track. Everything I just said above, same to this one. Looks like a points pinata, but I really hope that they perform well in game. Regardless of whether they're good or they're bad, I like seeing new things in game, and I think it keeps things interesting. So, Darkflow has heard you. So starting with the future updates, this will not be coming in the Ardennes update. This will be coming not so far off in the future, hopefully, but not this update. We are preparing Japan for Tier 5. And how are we going to do that? The Ho-Ri. Maybe the Ho-Ri prototype. I can't quite tell from the picture. But if you've played War Thunder, like I have, and you've played the Ho-Ri or the Ho-Ri prototype, you know what a lumbering, potent beast it can be. Coming in with a whopping 105mm cannon, it will be able to deal with any Allied armor that finds its way into the Pacific. And I believe that 105 HE will make mincemeat of those Marines. Now, I think it'll be a decent vehicle. It's got pretty good front armor. It's got decent sloping. It'll be a very, very difficult nut to crack for the Americans. They don't exactly have the best man-portable anti-tank weapons. That's one thing that we haven't seen them get improved yet, and whether they add the recoilless rifle or the super bazooka, they simply feel like they're lagging far behind everybody else when it comes to shoulder-fired, or waist-fired in the case of the Panzerfaust, anti-tank weapons. The second bazooka that you get, the M9, it caps out at 102 mils a pen. The Panzerfaust 100, on the other hand, is at 220 mils a pen, and the Offenrohr is at 200 mils a pen. Both of those would go miles to helping the Allies deal with their big, bad monstrosity, the Tiger 2H. The main issue for the Ho-Ri in the Pacific, though, is that the terrain in the Pacific is absolutely abysmal. We have water, we have sand, we have rocks and trees galore. We have hills, we have dips, we have creeks, we have it all. And this is a big, heavy, lumbering beast. So, while it will have a potent and powerful gun, while it will have impressive armor, especially for the Japanese army, it probably will have a very difficult time getting around the maps. It'll be a great vehicle if you can get it in position and you don't get bombed. Watch out for those pesky planes. You're going to be a big target out there. Moving on. As I said, Darkflow has heard your plea, and they are answering. Not only will you be getting the Pershing in a future update, you will be getting the Super Pershing. But wait a second. I'm not too sure that all of your Tiger woes are going away just yet. It's sure to bring parity, at least on some level, or at least an increase in power to the Allied armor. But the current Tiger 2H has 185 millimeters of armor on its turret's front plate, if it's like War Thunder. The Super Pershing's gun at 10 meters pens about 185 millimeters of armor. But who knows? Darkflow might tweak the stats on either of them between now and this update. Regardless, the Super Pershing's 90mm gun is sure to bring power to the American Armored Corps. They'll be able to deal with everything short of the Tiger 2H, no problem. The only downside is their armor may not hold up quite as well as their German counterpart. They're certainly going to be able to deal with hordes of infantry like never before with their new large caliber cannon. I am ultimately surprised that the Super Pershing is being previewed already. As I recall, the Super Pershing is a mid-50s modification. The normal Pershing did see service towards the end of the war. It did see engagements with Panthers. It does make sense for it to end up in the game, and it is probably the clearest late war answer to the German armored question for the Allies. At least if we're going with the American Allies. There is an argument for the Comet or the Black Prince potentially, if you include the British. But I am curious to see how much the UK and Commonwealth forces get developed in the American tech tree right now, because we don't know if we're going to keep a combined Allied tech tree or see a split into a Commonwealth tech tree. They've said that it's a potential for the future, but I think that depends a lot on how matchmaking goes and how much they're willing to split off from what players currently have. Obviously, it creates more hours to grind if they put out a British tech tree or a Commonwealth tech tree, but Allied players have a lot tied into their current tech tree, and they have a lot of Commonwealth equipment already. So I'm curious if it would make more sense to change the American tech tree from being the American tech tree and instead make it the Western Allied tech tree. Nonetheless, exciting times are afoot. All sorts of new and interesting equipment. I can tell you I am most excited for the Tokyo Arsenal SMG. My Japanese assaulters are going to bonsai like never before. We're going to bring 1,000 years to the Emperor. May his immortal reign last forever. I'm looking forward to the Maxim as well. It seems like a pretty cool gun. But let me know down below, what are you excited for? Is there anything that you don't see in this update that you wish was coming? Do you have any predictions for what else is going to be coming alongside the Pershing and the Super Pershing and the Ho-Ri? Do you have suggestions for what Darkflow might add in addition to help counter the Tiger 2 threat? Do you even believe it really is the monumental threat that people say it is? Let me know down below. Get out there, enjoy the merge, kick ass, take names, and win your games.